beautiful raw day today. You know what I'm saying? We're bringing back Sundays for the Sunday as opposed to, Sundays to practicing that sick, sadistic ritual of worshiping a dead black man on the cross and eating of his flesh and drinking of his blood. Hopefully everybody is, having a beautiful day. I got my beautiful sun juice. My beautiful sun juice today, and I'm feeling good. I'm feeling good, man. I feel vibrant. This week has been a duality week of both good and bad energy. But, it's also been a very, very productive week. I can't complain. And I'm just bathing in the sun today. I'll be going outside, having some fun, and just enjoying life. A beautiful Sunday today. How's everybody doing today? When everybody pile in, man, I'm gonna bring up a few subjects, just not nothing negative, well, a little bit negative, but something that's, just something to build on and see what's going on out there, man. How y'all doing today? Everybody come on in, pal on in. I'm going to bring up something, man. I don't really want to get in too much, but I just want to celebrate this beautiful raw day today. You know what I'm saying? I've been getting a lot of people trying to debate me and, trying to debate me now. Everybody wants to debate what I have to say. And to me, it's like, like I tell everybody, what is there to debate over? You want to tell me that your God created Jesus and created the Son and all this other stuff? And I beg to differ. And you can't prove it to me. Junaid Hamoid Joy said hi. Hey, hi, how you doing today? Hey, how everybody's doing today? Y'all piling in here today? That's good, man. How's everybody doing today on this beautiful Sunday? Oh, yeah, okay. Well, hey, whatever floats your boat. If you pagan or whatever, the Catholics used to call us and stuff like that for believing in the obvious. Believing in the obvious as opposed to believing in, the fake deity of Jesus dying on the cross for all our sins. And like I always tell people, what's sin? We ain't commit no sin. All we done was just live life. Life is not sinful. Everybody's made of good and bad. So what's this sin thing that they talking about? Because I don't know what they're talking about. Everybody doing what they got to do to survive. My granddaddy used to tell me all the time, self-preservation is the first law of nature. Self-preservation is the first law of nature, period. Yo, what's up, God? How y'all doing out there today, man? Y'all moving and grooving, hustling and pursuing it while y'all doing it? True indeed. Somebody said we worship nature. Nature gives us life. Man, that's the best. That's the best thing to worship, because that is what gives you life. I believe in Ra. I believe in the sun. The sun provides me with light and life. I really want to tell y'all something, because I had how sometimes you be building with somebody, and at the same time while you building with them, you giving them information, but you also receiving information that's coming up out of you, in the form of, just, the universe speaking through you. And I was talking to somebody about why I believe in Ra. It was actually one of my cousins. We had a bill yesterday, and he told me he was watching the show and stuff like that. And he was telling me some of the stuff that I was saying, how he was watching it. And I was like, man, that's dope. I appreciate you watching it. But he asked me, he was like, why you believe in the sun? I said, well, look, the sun was the first hero that we ever had. That's why you get the word Heru comes from, hero comes from Heru. Heru was the golden falcon of ancient Kemet. And it was a representation, the zootite was the sun. Was the falcon, and it was a representation of the sun. And he was like, well, why did you believe in the sun? I said, well, let me break it down to you in really the most basic terms that I can ever break it down to in a human. And it'll give you a better perspective on ancient Kemet so that you would have a better understanding of why we believe that the sun was our, hero. You have to remember something. Before man created light bulbs, before man created fire, when you're in the darkness at nighttime, in the wild, the only thing that could come and save you was the sun. Was the sun. Think about it. I really want you to think about it as a person. Before you even knew what a book was, Bible, or anything of that nature, when man was at his most primitive state, before he invented the light bulb, before he invented fire, who did we used to call on to take us out of the darkness? When you in the jungle and you getting chased by all these different kind of animals and you can't see and this and that or whatever, the first deity that you would really call on would be the sun. You would call the sun to come and take you out of darkness. That's what people don't really understand about Kemet. Kemet is the oldest and one of the oldest civilizations known to man, period. So like literally, we would call on the sun to come and take us out of the darkness. Our ancestors, yes, our ancestors, before the light bulb was created, because a lot of people are spoiled now, before fire was created, because all those things are technologically advancements that man has made to make himself become more, able to survive, now. But before fire, before the light bulb, you would call on the sun to come and save you out of the darkness. We take it for granted now when people want to say Jesus this, Jesus that, but no. You have to think about man, and you think about the civilization of Kemet and how old it is. How old it is as a civilization. The pyramids is older than anything you can think of. The temples in Kemet are really old. You're talking about 3,000, 4,000, 5,000, 6,000, 10,000, 15,000. Even before then, old civilizations. So we wasn't calling on no Jesus. We wasn't calling on no Yahweh. We wasn't calling on no Allah. We was calling on what we actually saw come and take us out of the darkness. We were taken out of the darkness by the sun. That's why you see so many images of the sun in ancient Kemet on the deities of the wall, because back in those days, before technology, before all of that civil, before electricity, before we're all spoiled like we are now, you would literally will call on the sun to come and take you out of the darkness. That's why we got so proficient in mapping out the calendar, because we will literally sit there and watch the sun rise over the horizon and set and pray for the sun to come back to rejoin us, to provide us with light and life again. So when all these new religions come and try to tell you that their deity created the sun, nobody would even know about any of these religions if the Ra wouldn't have provided us with the beginning of life, period. So to me, it's just easy and plain to see why we believed in the sun, because you have to go back to the ancient days when we didn't even have technology. There was no light bulb. There was no fire. Before man even knew how to build fire, we would literally wait and pray for Ra to come back up and provide us with life and light. That's why when these new religions come around calling everybody else pagan, they're always a little bit more technologically advanced than the prior civilization, and didn't have to actually go through the struggles of fighting in the darkness and striving to create a civilization off of just the daytime light that they received, because the only thing they could think about was, when was the sun going to rise again? You know what I'm saying? So, when people try to get you to worship a dead man on the cross and tell you that this man is the way, the truth, and the light, and because he was, this and that or whatever, I don't care what magic tricks they tell you that Jesus did, ain't none of those magic tricks ever greater than the sun rising up and providing you with life and light. Period. There's no being on this planet that's ever been greater than Ra. I don't care how many times these white folks try to make Jesus white, put him in front of the sun and tell you that he's the way, the truth, and the light. How can you be the way, the truth, and the light, and you're not the light? The light is the sun, the oldest deity on this planet. The biggest monuments ever built on this planet is built to the sun, period. The biggest monuments on this planet is built to the sun. The sun came from itself. I just did a lecture on that. The sun is self-created. It wasn't created by Jesus. It wasn't created by Allah. It wasn't created by Yahweh. It created itself the same way you create yourself in your mother's womb. So when they tell you that the sun is not this or whatever, that's because, for one, they're not dealing in reality. They're still caught up in the fantasy book of the Bible. Because anybody who deals in reality know that the reason why they woke up this morning is because of the sun. Wasn't because of Jesus, wasn't because of Allah, wasn't because none of that. The first deity that we had as a people was the hero that took us out of the darkness. It's really just that simple. That's why I say, how you go debate me with, I'm dealing in the most simplicity of the world, period. Before you had electricity, before you had fire, who did you call on? Before you had electricity, before you had fire, Who did you call on? This whole Jesus theory is all new. This whole Allah Islam theory is all new. All of that is new. When you break man down and you go back to his primitive ways, the first deity that he called upon was for the sun to come and take him out of the darkness. That's why in ancient Kemet, Ra has always been the dominant deity, because there is no way you can get around the fact that this deity came and took you out of the darkness before you had fire, before you had electricity. Everybody across the whole world was rejoiceful when the sun rose up every single day, period. So that's why I say, people want to debate me. You can't debate me when you don't even have, you know what I'm saying, any proof. The first thing they want to come and tell you is, well, who created the sun? The sun created itself. Well, how can something create itself? Well, you create yourself, don't you? When you put yourself inside of a woman's womb, you create yourself, right? Yeah, you do. Every human being recreates itself. All living things recreate themselves. You know what I'm saying? So, we have to get back into reality. And it's really became a de-evolving issue, because the Europeans came with their guns and they went around and telling everybody to believe in Jesus, and that Jesus created the sun, and Jesus did this and this, that, or whatever, but they don't really understand the story. So what happens is that now you have this book done run around and it's teaching everybody that they're born in sin, as opposed to them actually being born perfect. They're born in sin and all this other stuff, to make them feel inferior, while the rich keep getting richer, and the rich in the background is actually praying to the ancient deity of Ra, the sun. And the first Immaculate Conception story is the story of Asar, not of Jesus. Jesus wasn't the first so-called person to be born of a virgin birth. The first story goes back to the story of the Immaculate Conception, which I put on my thumbnail on my video that we're doing right now. So, people have forgotten about the basics of human beings because we're so spoiled. We got TVs, we got this, that, we got a lot of technology and stuff like that. Even back in those days, they had fire and things like that. So they weren't as, they're not part of the beginning civilizations like Kemet that actually had to make everything from scratch. We were the ones who actually mapped out and gave civilization 365 days as a calendar. We were the civilization who actually took papyrus leaves from the papyrus plant and turned it into paper. You know what I'm saying? We were the first ones to give anybody a form of law with the 42 principles of Ma'at. We were the first ones to teach people about how to bury their own dead into the ground and how to mummify themselves for preservation into, into the afterlife. You know what I'm saying? Everything, the games, the architectural designs, multi-story buildings, that all came from the hard work and sweat and tears of the ancient civilization of Kemet. But everybody wants to use all of the inventions of Kemet, but they never want to give who we actually believed in any credence, because first thing they want to tell you is that their God actually created our God, but there's no proof of that at all. They just tell you that. Well, Jesus created the sun. No, he did not. Well, how can you prove that? How can you prove that Jesus created the sun when in ancient Kemet, before Jesus was even born, supposedly, because I don't even believe in Jesus, but before Jesus was actually even born, we were believing in the sun. And the sun was self-created. That's where you get the Keparah beetle from. The Keparah beetle is a semblance, a zoo-type semblance of self-creation. All the other religions came afterwards. But when you're living in complete darkness, trust me, the only hero or hero that you're looking for is the sun. Period. You know what I'm saying? That's a natural human instinct. And anybody who's been in danger at nighttime knows exactly what I'm talking about. Got my beautiful sun juice right here. Beautiful sun juice. And people forget that you actually supposed to go to church on Sunday. That's what I tell you. The world now is completely confused. Completely confused. This is the most the world has ever been and ever. You know what I'm saying? Ever. The world has never been this confused as far as religious wise ever. And it's only really because of force. Because if people really sat down and think about it, they will go back to the original way of living. But because majority of the people are forced to believe in Jesus, and instead of worshiping the sun on Sunday, they worship the dead image of a king. You know what I'm saying? It's called peer pressure. So majority of the society worships it because of what the colonizers did and the Crusades did across the world of going around getting everybody to worship a dead man as opposed to actually worshiping life and light every single day. You know what I'm saying? While the Masons and the people that really run society actually worship the actual real deity of Ra as being the sun god, the sun netter of the world. You know, the world right now is really, you know what I'm saying, really blind. You know, people believe that the sun is just because of science. They only take what they want to take up out of science. So people will come and tell you, oh, the sun is just a big ball of gas. But then they forget about the other things in science that science teaches you about the sun, that the sun provides you with fresh drinking water. You wouldn't have fresh water without the sun. The sun wakes you up in the morning because the light from the sun hits your pineal gland and wakes you up. You have fresh vegetables and food and life on the planet because of the sun. The sun is the actual reason why you have photosynthesis inside of plants and you get nutritious vegetables from the sun. So, you know, all the things that the sun does to sustain your life, yet you want to give it to a dead man. You want to give the credit to a dead man on the cross. Let me say that again. The sun provides you. And if you think I'm lying, you just do the science yourself. Because in the ancient world, like I said, still to this day, the biggest monuments on the planet are dedicated to the sun. The pyramid in Giza and the pyramid over here in the Americas. The two biggest pyramids in the world are sun pyramids. Christianity hasn't built a bigger monument. Islam hasn't built a bigger monument. Nobody's built a bigger monument on the planet, but yet we want to give credit for life, sustaining of life, light, fresh water, vegetables that come from the sun, that we know for a fact that the sun provides us with fresh water, fresh food, the air that we breathe, and yet you want to give that credit to a dead man on a cross. I don't get it. Like, what happens? That should be an easy argument just for you to compute in your mind. The first thing people want to say, well, the sun ain't alive. If it's not alive, then how is it providing you with life? Positive energy is alive. Now, just because it don't come down and sit down and have a conversation with you every day does not mean that it's not alive. It's just a different kind of energy that you don't understand. You see what I'm saying? So the thing about it is that, like I said, we have to put Sunday back into its proper perspective. We can't be using Sunday to worship somebody that's dead on the cross while these people are running around killing and murdering everybody and stealing money from you out of the church. Making you out there worship false idols that's not here. You know what I'm saying? So, we have to get back to the reality. You know what I'm saying? Because religion has been used as a tool to keep people docile, ignorant, and controlled. Period. Yes. Yeah, there's no such thing. You know what I'm saying? Why would we go be worshiping a dead man on the cross on Sunday as opposed to worshiping the sun on Sunday? Like I said, so we got more people in here. I want to give y'all, I had a conversation with my cousin last night. We was talking about religion, and he asked me, he said, why do you believe in the sun? I said, to me, it's real simple. Before man had fire, before man had electricity, before man had fire, before man had electricity, and you was out there in the jungle, and you was out there in the wilderness, before all this technology that we're so spoiled with today, who did you call on? Who came and actually took you out of the darkness of living in the wild and providing you with life and light? It was not Jesus, because there was no Jesus back then. It was the sun. It was Ra. Ra came and took you up out of the darkness, literally. Literally, Ra came and took you out of the darkness. Jesus ain't come and grab your hand and take you out of the darkness. No, the sun did. That's why it was the first deity that man ever worshiped. It's really just that simple. If your ass is in the darkness and you see that sun coming up and you've been fighting and scratching animals and you know what I'm saying? You don't even know how to make fire yet. Ain't no light bulbs, ain't none of that. Ain't no light bulbs, ain't none of that. The first deity that you called upon was the sun. It's really just that simple. That's why when you go back and look at the old religions, they remember when they did not have electricity. They remember when they did not have fire. They were waiting for Ra's return to come and bring them back life and light, heat and warmth. That's why in ancient Kemet, you would see Ra with the eternal symbols inside of what? The sun. Because he will literally provide you with light and life every single day. The Egyptians, the ancient Cometian people, were the first ones to map out 365 days in a year. They were the first one to take papyrus, the papyrus plant, and turn it into paper. Those are the oldest civilization technologically advanced that we know of. And the first thing that they believed in was what they actually saw, which was the sun taking them out of darkness. Not Yahweh, not Allah, not Jesus, but the actual sun taking them out of darkness. So the ancient people were way smarter than the fools that you have today, because the fools today actually worship a dead man on Sunday and then keep preaching to everybody on Sunday that he's going to return one day. As opposed to actually worshiping the sun who provide us with light and life every single day. You wouldn't have fresh water. You wouldn't have vegetables. You wouldn't have air. All of that, your whole life existence is contributed to the sun, period. That's why I say I'm not debating no Christian. The only person that I would debate is if you actually brought me Jesus. Bring me Jesus and I'll debate him. Bring me Yahweh and I'll debate him. Bring me Allah and I'll debate him. You can't do it. All you can do is sit here and tell me about what you think Jesus is going to do, what you think Yahweh go do, what you think Allah go do, but they ain't done nothing. While back in our days, we knew exactly who we believed in because literally we saw him every single day. He is the reason why we have day. And he is the positive energy of our planet, period. He creates life on our planet, period. He provides us with fresh water on our planet, period. He provides us with vegetables on our planet, period. He provides us with oxygen on our planet, period. You can't tell me nothing else do that because you can't tell me. You can sit here and try to talk me to death, but you can't debate me because there is no debate. You will never be able to beat the sun. Never. It's not even close. You will never be able to beat the sun. The sun is here to stay, been here whether you believe in it or not. Go provide you with life and energy whether you believe it or not, because it's supreme positive energy. It don't need you to believe in it. Supreme positive energy says, I'm going to be supreme regardless of you. There is no emotional connection with Ra. Ra is the highest form of testosterone in the galaxy. Pure positive energy. Fire. and it's alive. If you don't think it's alive, then how can it bring life? You can only get life from life, period. You know what I'm saying? So, why all these other fake religions out here with their fake gods and their fake deities and their fake Bibles, their fake Torahs, their fake Qurans, and all these other books that man keeps making every day could never supersede that of reality. You can't debate reality. Because can't none of you religious people bring me who you talking about to debate me. So why would I sit around and debate somebody who has no weight in the universe as far as manifestation is concerned? As far as manifestation is concerned. Huh? Nothing beats the sun. That's why the biggest monuments on the planet still is the ones dedicated to the sun. Hands down. How can you beat that? How can you beat that? How can you beat the sun? You want to sit around and debate me about what actually provides you with life? When the last time Jesus came over your house and cooked you a meal or growed anything for you and brought you some food? Huh? It's easy to prove it. You want me to prove that they fake? I'll prove to you that they fake right now. Where's Jesus at? Where's Allah at? Where's it at? Where somebody show me where they at? Where's Jesus at? Where's Allah at? Where's Yahweh at? You can't show me them. That's how you know they fake. You can put a picture inside of a church and say, this is Jesus right here. That's what you have to do. You have to put a picture inside the church for everybody to worship the dead man, or put the dead man's body on the cross and say, oh, this was Jesus right here. He died and suffered for your sins. There's not even a picture of Allah because nobody's ever seen him. There's not a picture of Yahweh because nobody's ever seen him. So where are these deities that everybody keeps saying that they have? While the ones that the ancients really believed in are still here doing their job every single day, providing people with light and life every single day. Not skipping a day, but every single day. Ra's in the sun right now. Go outside, you can see Ra. He's right there in the heavens, providing you with light. Somebody says, where's Ra at? Ra's right outside, shining right up in the sky right now. There's no mystery. He's right there. But where's Jesus at? I've been going to church since I was a kid and they've been talking about Jesus is coming back. He ain't coming back. You know why? Because he was never real. He was never real. So, when these old slave masters, these old colonialists, when these old preachers, when these old sadistic, twisted, religious people try to tell you that your way of life as a person that practiced chemistry is based on lies, All you got to do is just point to the sky and be like, how is it based on a lie when we actually know for a fact that the reason that we have day is because of the sun, period. You know what I'm saying? Period. You know what I'm saying? And it's really just that simple. That's why I say anybody that wants to debate me, because there's a lot of people that want to try to debate against ancient Kemet, but there is no debating. But anybody that wants to try to debate me, you know what I'm saying? Bring who you believe in, and I'll debate Jesus. I'll be quiet, okay? You know what I'm saying? So like I said, when we're talking about the ancient religions, you have to remember the times of trials and tribulations that they actually went through, or why they believed in what they believed in. When the colonial people came, you know, they had an agenda to push. Their agenda was, we're going to give you the Bible in return for your land. We're going to give you the Bible in return for your resources. If you don't believe in what we're bringing to you, we're going to shoot your people. We're going to cause chaos amongst your people, and we're going to murder and kill your people. That was how they pushed Christianity across the world. It wasn't based on reality. It was based on force, just like slavery was. It's the only reason why African people or anybody is a Christian is because either they was a Christian or they were killed. Either you was a Christian or the devil murdered you. Period. And then they started setting up churches everywhere, and you know what I'm saying? Then they started setting up churches everywhere, and then they started using their power and leverage over people to make them become believers of something that is incorrect. And I don't care if it was in Ethiopia, I don't care where it was. If you don't believe in the actual truth of what you actually see, then what happens is you're not dealing in reality. And the reality is that the life source that brings us everything that we need to survive comes from Ra. And that's a scientific proof. There's no scientific proof that Jesus brings you anything except death and construction. Slavery. You know what I'm saying? That's a fact. You know what I'm saying? That's a fact. That's not me making anything up. Go study the Crusades. If you go study the Crusades between the Christians and the Muslims and their war amongst themselves, you will see that that's how they spreaded Christianity. They spreaded Christianity with the gun. And they used Christianity as a tool to subdue the populations of the world. And that's a fact. That's not me making nothing up. That's a fact. But before Christians went around the world with the sword and the gun, people believed in the sun because it's not hard to believe in something that you actually see. It don't take a whole lot of convincing that the sun does provide you with everything that you need. When they talk about you waking up in the morning, that's the sun that does that. That's not Jesus, that's not Allah, that's not Buddha, that's not none of them. That's the sun that actually does that. When you talking about, you know what I'm saying, the first hero of the world, The first hero of the world was the sun. That's where you get the word hero from. I guess I should look that up, man, because people don't believe me when I say that the word hero comes from the word Heru. Does everybody know that? Somebody said rain is worship more. Well, where do you get rain from? You get rain from the sun. How do those clouds get in the sky? The clouds get in the sky through what? Evaporation. Where does evaporation come from? Evaporation comes from the sun. Now, people would do rain dances and stuff like that as a ceremonial tool to try to get the sun, to try to get there to be rain to come. But the sun created itself. That's, that's like the old, that's like the old debates people would come up with. Well, who created the sun? The sun created itself. Well, how do you know that? Well, that's what the Kemet beetle was a symbol of back in the ancient days. The same way you create yourself, the sun creates itself. You know what I'm saying? So that's why I say you have to really start studying ancient Kemetic science, because when you study ancient Kemetic science, you will actually see that all of these, these so-called explanations and stuff like that, those are for people who actually haven't studied. If I come up to you and I say, well, who created the sun? Well, God created the sun. No, he did not. First of all, God comes from government of democracy, which lets me know automatically you don't even know the root word of where God comes from. The white folks created government of democracy as a way to keep people in civilization, controlled. That's where God comes from. That's why they put it in the Bible. Anybody who really understands religion know that the original name for God in the Jewish form is Yahweh. So how do you get from Yahweh to God? God was put in the Bible because it stood for government of democracy. And anytime you build any kind of government, the government has to be the what? The ruler over the people. So the ruler over the people of America that everybody worship is government of democracy. That's why when you look on a dollar bill, it doesn't say, in Jesus' name we trust. It says, in Allah. It says, in God's name we trust. Government of democracy. That's where you get God from. And if you don't believe me, go do your research. So when you saying God, you're saying that you believe in government of democracy, which is why they go around the world spreading democracy to all of the nations of the world. Why? Because they're spreading God across the world, who is the deity in which they really believe in. They don't believe in Jesus. They tell you to believe in Jesus, but do they actually believe in Jesus? No, they don't, because they don't practice any of the teachings of Jesus. Literally, they don't practice none of them. They kill, they murder, they blow up. Look at all the people they just blew up over there in Gaza. The two supposedly most religious countries in the world, America and Israel. Look at what they did over there in Gaza. Literally got those people living in rubble, blowing up their buildings, killing them, murdering them, and then tell you, hey, you should come over here to Israel and learn about Jesus. Why they don't practice none of his teachings? None of them. And it's the same way over here. They've been thrown away Jesus. They've been thrown away God. They don't believe in none of that. They kill and murder in his name. And if I'm lying, somebody tell me I'm lying, because everybody in America know that. The government justifies murder. The government justifies, sending bombs and blowing up people. The government justifies all of that. So at the end of the day, do they really believe in Jesus? No, they believe in God. Government of democracy. Government of democracy. Government of democracy. Government of democracy. Period. So, like I said, when we were coming out of the darkness, and we didn't have fire and we didn't have electricity, the first hero that we ever had was Ra. That shouldn't be so hard. Is that hard to believe, babe? If you out there, if you're a primitive people, right, and you don't have no electricity, before electricity was made, you don't have no fire, and you out there stuck in the darkness all night, you don't know nothing about no Jesus, because Jesus wasn't even created yet. You don't know nothing about no Allah, because Allah wasn't even created yet. You don't know nothing about no Yahweh, because Yahweh wasn't created yet. The only thing you saw every day was Ra coming out. Period. Period. That's it. That's why an ancient civilization like Kemet, who was the founders of civilization.
So many animals in the morning too. They praise the sun.
They praise the sun. That's why and the number one animal that does that is the baboon. Yeah, the baboon gets up every morning and prays to the sun, not to Jesus. Go look it up. Go look it up in Africa. Every morning, the baboon, that's how they used to track time in ancient Kemet. They were literally watch the baboon. The baboons would get up every morning and pray to the sun, thanking it. Because now they could see the leopards. Now they could see the lions. Now they could see the snakes. Most of the predators of the world do their hunting when? At nighttime. So, if you are primitive people and you ain't never heard of no Bible, you can't read, you ain't never heard of Jesus, you ain't never heard of none of that, the first thing that you're going to call on when you stuck in the darkness as a people is Ra. Then as you study Ra and you learn from Ra, that's how you get technology, from studying nature. Facts. Like I said, the word hero comes from Hey Ru. Not hero doesn't mean Spider-Man. Hero doesn't mean the Fantastic Four. Hero doesn't mean Captain America. Hero doesn't mean Black Panther. Hero means Ra. Period. Man, how is that so hard for people to really understand? Oh man. It's really just that simple. It's really just that simple. I think it's blasphemy for people to worship a dead man on a cross. Why would people be that slow to sit here after all of the wicked shit that the Europeans have done in the name of Jesus? Killing people, murdering people, blowing up people, dropping the H bomb on people, and then still believe in any deity that they came up with. And they keep telling you that he's coming back, and he ain't came back yet. But people are still dying, still getting murdered, they're still over there in Gaza blowing up people in Jesus' name. In Jesus' name, they're over there in Gaza blowing up people, destroying people, committing genocide. Committing genocide. Committing genocide. And still want to tell you that if you believe in Jesus, you will be saved. You know what I'm saying? That's just crazy to me. Like I said, if anybody anybody want to ask me a question, just throw it in the super chat. I'll answer it. But it's moving too fast for me to sit here and read all of you guys' super chat. I mean, all of you guys' questions. Because to me, it's real simple. That's why some people have been asking me to debate me. They want to debate me on ancient Kemetic science. There is no debate. I suggest you go read Herodotus, who they consider to be the father of history, about his times in ancient Kemet. And he would actually show you that in ancient Kemet, what they believed in, they could actually prove. It wasn't just them just saying something. They could actually prove it. And he said that everything that they believed in, they could prove. So it wasn't even back in those days, people understood that. It wasn't until the colonial rule came and, all of this other stuff that people actually started veering away from what they saw. And then with science trying to actually say that the sun is just a ball of gas as opposed to an actual, living entity of pure energy, which is what the sun is, an entity of pure energy, the purest energy that you will ever see in your life is going to be the sun. There's nothing more pure that you will see every day than the sun. They'll tell you to believe in Jesus, but please, somebody tell me what entity that you see every day is more pure than the sun? What entity? There isn't an entity out there that's more pure than the sun. Nothing. People will tell you Jesus, but at the same time, they keep telling you to wait on him to come back. Why I gotta wait on Jesus to come back when the sun is coming back every single day? The sun comes back every day and is pure, full of energy, and provides me with light and life every single day. I'm gonna drink some of my sun juice. Anybody, babe, can you give me some more sun juice, baby, case? Give me some more sun juice. I'm gonna get some more sun juice, y'all, while we sit here and celebrate the greatness of Sunday. The self-created, beautiful being that is Ra, that provides us with light and life every single day. Thank you, baby. Thank you. It's such a beautiful thing to be a king, you know. Such a beautiful thing to be a king. You get pampered and, you know what I'm saying, you get the most gloriousness of your queen come out and provide you with good old fashioned sun juice. You know what I'm saying? How can you beat sun juice on Sunday? Beautiful sun juice on Sunday. Oh. Oh, that's some good OJ right there. That's some good sun juice right there, baby K. This is beautiful right here. You know what I'm saying? Beautiful sun juice on Sunday. Like I said, if anybody want to ask me a question, put it in the sun chat. I mean, not sun chat. Put it in the sun chat. Put it in the sun chat. That's what we gonna call it, yo. We gonna call the super chats on my page. We gonna call them sun chats, because that's what we doing. And see, the science is so deep that once you actually start to study raw and you actually start to study how life is created, then you will know that the mere reason that you have life is because of the sun. The sun provides you with life every single day, and it's the reason why we have creation. When you study how energy is made, right? When you study how a battery is made, you study you study the 4 principles of how a battery is made. The battery is made off of 4 principles: a positive, a negative, electrolyte, and a crystal. If I was sitting here and I was making because you can make electricity out of lemon. This is orange juice, but you can make electricity out of lemon. I would take a copper rod, put it on this side, and that would take me a lead rod, put it on this side. I would fill this up with water, and I would put salt inside of the water with the copper rod suspended in the water and the lead rod suspended in the water, but they will come up. I would take a negative and a positive from an electrometer, and I would pull a current off of that. So you literally can make electricity off of positive, negative, salt, and water. Look it up. Information's out there. Now, with that same science, look at your surroundings. Human beings are crystallized electric batteries. We charge and decharge every single day. We charge and decharge every single day. We drink water and eat salt every single day. We receive sunlight as energy and moonlight as negative energy. Those are the 4 elements that create life on this planet. God ain't create no life on this planet. Jesus ain't create no life on this planet. Allah ain't create life on this planet. The sun did. And that's a scientific fact. The sun is a positive energy. The moon is a negative energy. This water in the ocean consists of salt and water, which is why you have the most abundant of life in the ocean. Because when you create electricity, you create life. When you create electricity in organic matter, you create life. Human beings are crystallized organic matter that charges and decharges every single day. Our life is sustained by the elements around us: the sun, the moon, water, and salt. Creates electricity, sustains electricity. So when we keep talking about, oh, God created life, you can only fool that with people who don't really understand Kemetic science. Because when you understand Kemetic science, you understand that the ancestors taught us how life is actually created through the power of the sun. Not Jesus, not Allah, not Yahweh, but the sun that you actually see every single day creates and sustains life every single day. That's not something I'm making up. That's a reality. We are electrical beings. The reason why I move my arms is because I have motion of water, I have motion of electricity, and I have a physical form of salt and negative energy that what? Draws out positive energy. That's an electric, that's science 101. That's how life is created. Life is created by the elements around us. Kids, a minute. Go in the room, close the door while I'm talking. Okay. You see what I'm saying? So that's the actual science of life. You know what I'm saying? See, we're past that. That's why the Romans shut down the temples in Kemet. The biggest temple in the whole wide world is the Temple of Amen. It was visited by everybody in the world who could go to Kemet at that time when the temples were open, and they would learn about the different aspects of life. Like how you see over here in America, they got museums and things like that. We had all of that in ancient Kemet. But the biggest temple in the world, still to this day, is the Temple of Amen, which was like a museum where people would come to actually go around and learn about the mysteries of life, which is why they were called mystery schools. But in learning about the mysteries, you would actually learn about how life is actually created. Electricity was not invented by Thomas Edison or whoever they contribute, or Nikola Tesla or whatever. Electricity, they've been had electricity even in the ancient days. You can go and learn that by studying the Baghdad battery. And on top of that, when you look at King Tutankhamun tomb, his coffin was electroplated. The gold that was put on top of his coffin is electroplated. So that lets you know that they had electricity back then. Electricity is nothing that they try to tell you is new. America did not invent electricity. We reinvented it off of us studying ancient Kemet, which is why you have so many Freemason buildings in America, because that's where they get their knowledge from. Masonic knowledge is the teaching of the mystery classes of ancient Kemet, which teaches you the reality of life. And what's the reality of life? The elements. Where do you get the word chemistry from? Chemistry comes from the word Kemet, which is the original name of Egypt. That's where you get chemistry from. It's a study of all of the different elements that make up our world. So, you know, all these religions and stuff that they're coming up with, Those are for the ignorant and the stupid people. Those are for the ignorant and the stupid people. But for those who really know and really dig into the science and really know what's going on, they all study ancient Kemet, because ancient Kemet is the real foundation of civilization. The real foundation of civilization. It's not based upon, I just told you that Jesus created everything and you just stop right there. No. If you're telling me Jesus created everything, how did he create it? Oh, you don't know. Okay, well, you're just talking then. Because you really don't know. But when you actually study ancient Kemet, they told everybody how life was created. They told you who they really believed in, which was Ra, which is the sun. And it wasn't no mystery, because everybody saw the sun every single day. I ain't got to sit here and preach to you with a Bible and tell you one day that God is coming back. There's no need for me to do that. You just go outside and see the creator that provides me with light and provides you with light. Period. It provides me with light and provides you with light. Everybody gets their turn in the light. That's how the beautiful Ra is. He provides you with light and life every single day. Regardless of whatever race you are, regardless of whether you worship him or not, he provides you with light and life every single day, period. That's the beautifulness of it. I ain't got to go around and convince you, or we ain't got to go take no Bible and come knock on your door and say, hey, I'm a Jehovah's Witness. You want to hear about the good message of Jehovah today? No. There's no need for nobody to do that, because Ra comes out and he's not prejudiced. He's not coming to knock on your door. He's just going to rise up and provide you with light every single day. He don't need you to come. He ain't going to talk bad to you if you don't come to church on Sunday and tell you how you were doing some fornicating on Saturday night, the night before. He gonna provide you with light regardless of whether you like him or not, regardless of whether you believe in him or not. He gonna provide you with fresh drinking water regardless. Provide you with good old sun juice. So on that note, I hope that you're enjoying your Sunday. You know, to all those who want to debate me, there is no debate. You know what I'm saying? For all those, there is no debate. And I appreciate everybody that tuned in. I love the lovers and the haters. I appreciate you both. Like I said, I practice duality. So I love the hate and the love. I love it both. I love it both. And on that note, Hotep, may Ra bless you on your journey through this life, and may you be blessed. Hotep.